All right, so what the hell went wrong with this Raiders offense? How did it go from, listen, it was performing pretty well. I thought it did really well against Houston. I get it, it's Houston, but still, you were feeling optimistic. Well, there's no getting around it. They got completely just dominated in this one by the New Orleans Saints. Let's start off with this play, very early on play. It's a 3rd down and 12, and that's one of the issues is they were just in way too many of these 3rd down and long situations. The running game really wasn't, like, the overall numbers aren't bad, but like it really was not great in this one. There were some bad plays in this one. And again, it's the Saints. They have a good run defense. That's not why they lost, I don't think. But, that was a factor. You see this situation. This is the play that really should be hit. It's a cover 2 zone. You have Matt Collins, who's going to be running a route that's going to get into a gap in coverage here, kind of past the corner, but underneath the safety. Look at how when this play begins, you see Carr take the snap. He's going to make this throw, and really, this is the throw that has to be made. Part of me wants to say that, well, Carr is on the hash marks on the opposite side of the field. That does make it a little bit more difficult than it looks, sure, but still, this is just so open. This has to be a completion. Carr's throw, listen, Holland still got his hands on it, but it was definitely too high and was resulted in incompletion. You also could argue that it still should have been caught. That's fine. But either way, these are the plays that have to happen if the Raiders are going to beat a team like, listen, everyone was kind of talking about how the Raiders felt like a better team than their record. I also felt like the Saints were a better team than their record. I think both teams it's kind of the battle of the two teams that should have a better record than they actually do. But let's go over to this play now. This is another example of just something a mistake that Carr made. That's just the way to phrase it. It's a mistake that Carr made. I don't know what Carr was thinking here. They're paying Carr a lot of money, and listen, I like Carr. I'm a big Derek Carr fan, but you can't be having games like this, I think, and he's had a few of these this season. He has not played up to the way that we expect him to play. I think that's fair to say. So what's happening on this play, it's a zone coverage play. You have a receiver running over the middle. So on paper, sure, this totally makes sense. Yeah, look in this direction. I completely agree. Right when this play begins, though, okay, so you have to throw it to the side of the linebackers, right? That's the way this play works. And Carr, his read was somewhere else first, so he's not even looking in this direction just yet. But that's how this play works, is you throw it kind of in between linebackers to make this throw over the middle, if that's what you're going to do on a 3rd down and 2. I don't know why Carr throws this when he throws this. Watch him basically throw it directly. He didn't even really look. He just threw it straight to the receiver, not even paying attention to if there's a linebacker in the middle of the area. And it's kind of a fluky way that the interception happened, but that was an earned interception. He threw it directly at a New Orleans Saints player. It got batted up and intercepted by someone else. That's still an earned interception, in my opinion, and an easily earned interception. So, listen, the Saints are still a good team. You can't be just giving them the ball like that. You can't be making these mistakes. That's a big reason why things were just tough for the Raiders. And now let's go over to this play, because one of the things I'm always beating the drum about when we're talking about football is that you can't just blame sacks on the offensive line. The receiving core and quarterback have a lot to do with why sacks happen. So on this play, it's going to be a 3rd down and 10 here. And, this is a big way sacks can happen. I'm not sure if most sacks, but a good chunk of sacks do happen on 3rd down and long because the quarterback has to hold on to the ball for a bit too long, and they're going to be more willing to do it just because they want to see if they can make something happen and are less likely to throw the ball away. But anyways, watch what happened. It's a little bit hard to tell because, again, broadcast footage, you don't get to see the whole field, but we're going to play 2.5 seconds into this play. Look, so Carr takes a snap, Carr looks down the field, 2.5 seconds. At this point, this is typically when you want to be making a decision, getting rid of the ball or saying, okay, it's scramble drill time. That's typically where you're at. The offensive line did a good job at blocking up until this point, but there's still, Carr doesn't love what he sees. So what do you do here? I think a lot of quarterbacks would panic. Carr, to his credit, isn't going to do that. And you see Carr, there's still plenty of time. Like the offensive line actually did a pretty good job on that play, despite giving up the sack. It's just guys weren't getting open. And that's really what it comes down to, is you need guys to get open if you're going to be successful. And this is what the Saints can absolutely do to you when their defense is on. Guys just aren't open, and every quarterback looks bad when you're playing against them. Like this one's another example of, this is not a 3rd down, it's a 2nd and 18 though. So again, getting pushed back. I sort of brought up the running game as why some of these 3rd and longs were happening, but it was just as much penalties and sacks. Well, here's what's going to end up setting up a 3rd and long. Spoiler alert. Watch what happens. So now Carr takes a snap, and I'm going to pause this 4 seconds into the play. So 4 seconds into the play, that's just when pressure starts to arrive. So again, long developing play, I'm assuming is what's happening down the field. You do kind of have Josh Jacobs open in the flat. That is not in the flat, but underneath. That's probably the move to make. I think that if I was a head coach, that's what I would be saying. Hey, maybe just throw this check down here on 2nd and 18, give us an achievable 3rd down. But again, I don't know what's going on down the field. Maybe Carr actually is doing the right thing. However, as you see, Carr is going to try to make something happen, ends up getting sacked for a loss of 5 there. So again, these types of plays, regardless of what's really happening down the field, because we can't see all the play, here's what we know. We know that there's nothing down the field that Carr feels confident enough in throwing the ball in that direction. And when you are in that situation, your offense is going to struggle and you are going to look poor. And again, I think that you have to say just as much, yes, give credit to, yes, put blame on the Raiders, but you also have to give credit to this, to this team of the New Orleans Saints for doing such a good job in coverage. And one last play is just sort of mistakes. Again, good players not playing up to their potential. This is a one-on-one matchup. There's a single safety deep. You have Davante Adams on the outside. This is a dream scenario. The Saints won't give you these too many times. So when you are in these situations, it's a 3rd down and 6. This would be a huge conversion. As you see, Derek Carr, he's throwing it there. He's not even hesitating. It's a good throw, and Adams just doesn't make the grab. Again, maybe a defender's hand got in there to some degree. It doesn't look like it, but that's possible. But even so, those are the one-on-one matchups you expect for Davante Adams to win. That's why you went out and traded for him. That's why you paid him all this money. So you paid Carr and you paid Davante Adams a lot of money. When those guys aren't playing well, you're probably going to lose because a big chunk of your salary cap is going to those guys. You need them to perform or your team is going to suffer. And when they do perform, it works out, but you just need that to happen. And they've had a couple of stinkers now, and they've also lost a couple games they should have won. And when you lose a couple games that you should win, it kind of gives you no room for error. And the reality is errors are going to happen. You are going to have bad days, and this was a bad day for the Raiders. I still think they're a team that can beat just about anyone in the league. I still think they have that talent, but it's just, these are the wins that you have to pick up because of the hole that you put yourself in early, and they're just, they're digging a bigger and bigger hole. But, again, are the Raiders dead? I'm not going to say the Raiders are dead. The Raiders are looking tough. They are. But it is worth mentioning every year there's one team that starts off, like 2-5 or something like that and still makes the playoffs. It feels like it happens relatively frequently. Remember the Patriots started off very slow last year. They made the playoffs. Remember the Colts a few years back with, I believe that was Andrew Luck's last season. They started off 1-5 and ended up making the playoffs. I remember the Dolphins were 1-4 one year, made the playoffs. So it happens. You're not dead, but let's be honest. You're in a tough spot. Got to start winning some games. And great win from the Saints. Saints are totally back in it. Saints are they're right there for the division in a weak division. So give them some credit. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.